What's up, everybody? Dig Big McGee here, and this is the very first video in my series on money making guides. These guides are going to be aimed at newer players, but hopefully veterans will find something useful in them as well. I'm not making them in any particular order. However, I do recommend the import-export as the first business to buy. It is one of the best money makers in the game due to time and money ratio. It is an active income stream, which means you'll be sourcing a product and then you can immediately turn around and sell it. Unlike passive income stream where you source supplies and then wait a time for them to cook, such as the MC businesses and bunker. However, before we get into the guide, I would like to take a moment to talk about the special vehicle missions. The missions are pretty fun to do, although they don't pay very much, but the vehicles are generally obsolete or were never really useful in the first place. With the exception being the ramp buggy, which is just great fun to flip tanks about a dozen times, and the Phantom Wedge, which is a faster way to pull around your MOC trailer. However, the missions do give a pretty nice discount if you do want to collect the cars, which are a lot of fun to drive even if they aren't terribly practical. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into the money. The first thing you have to do is buy a vehicle warehouse. You buy it from the SecuroServe terminal in your office. After you purchase the warehouse, you then need to go to the property where your assistant will show you a short cutscene explaining the functions and details of running your import-export business. I recommend buying La Mesa. It's the most popular as well as the cheapest business to buy at $1.5 million. It has excellent access to the highways, which is crucial in running an effective and efficient business. Some of the other properties are close to the highways, but not really with any sort of convenient method of accessing them. La Mesa also has an excellent spot close by to fight off goon squads the game sends at you when you're selling, so as to avoid having your final payout reduced due to damage. The next thing could be considered kind of a pro or a con, and that is the Vagos. La Mesa is located in Vagos territory, and the Vagos can act as an unintentional free security force that can really help you out if you're being chased by a griefer. However, do not run them over, shove them, or point a gun at them because they will kill you quickly and damage the car. It can also be a tight landing for a helicopter such as a cargo bob, but with a little practice you shouldn't have too much trouble. It is also a fairly popular spot for griefers, so make sure you check your map when you're sourcing vehicles as well as before you sell. So now let's talk about sourcing vehicles. First of all, it can only be done in a public lobby, so I recommend getting a solo public lobby. The missions themselves usually follow a pretty standard formula of find the car, deal with any complications, then return the car to your warehouse. So to get started, log into the SecuroServe terminal in your office. Then select the middle option under Vehicle Cargo. Do not source if your warehouse is 80% full. It will mess up your ability to source only high-range vehicles by sourcing another random duplicate car type. If it is above 80%, sell any duplicate car types and get your stock percentage below 80% before sourcing another car. To begin the sourcing mission, select the green Source Vehicle button. Once you get outside and receive the call from your assistant, look at your map. If you see a car off of the road, it means it is parked and you can just drive up and take it. It is recommended, however, that you set a waypoint to the nearest freeway entrance in case it is the mission with the bomb. Since you must keep the vehicle above a certain speed, the highway makes it much easier as there is less danger of cross-street traffic like there is on surface streets. If it is on the road, it is or will be on the move in some way. These can be stopped not by blocking the target, but blocking the car in front of the target. The exception being when you have to chase the thief, who should be sniped from a distance without activating the chase. This mission is identified by the police helicopter hovering above it. If you see a yellow waypoint, there will usually be some kind of task to complete, such as kill some guards, beat a time trial, etc. Try to avoid crashes and don't use explosives. Any damage to the car has to be paid for in repairs. Going off-road is also not recommended if possible. The CEO will have to pay for repairs done to the car. If damages reach above $10,000, I will generally roll a grenade under the car to avoid the overhead repair costs. If you're using a cargo bob, gain altitude. Altitude avoids terrain hazards and goons. The goons won't show up until you're approximately a quarter of a mile away from the spot where the car was found. That includes straight up. The cargo bob is also heavier with a car attached, so you'll need altitude to maintain your forward momentum. If you are driving, stay on the highway as long as possible and drive cautiously. I have no proof, but traffic always seems to get worse during sourcing, especially at intersections and blind alleys. But I've also seen cars swerve over 4 lanes of highway just to crash into me. Also, the quad lens helmet or thermal scope is very useful during sniping missions. Again, do not use explosive sniper ammo. If you're attacked by goons in helicopters, try to fly at the same altitude or slightly lower than them. The goons target you, not the car. And while the cargo bob will eventually start smoking and fail, it is fairly durable against bullets. However, you need to return the car to your warehouse as soon as possible. And lastly, don't forget about Lesser's ability to remove your wanted level if the cops are chasing you. After you return the car to your warehouse, there will be approximately a 3-minute cooldown before you can source another car. So now let's talk about exporting. Exporting can only be done in a public lobby, so get a solo public lobby. Again, there is no benefit to being in a populated lobby. Selling missions are started from the ad hoc terminal in your warehouse. The first thing to remember is only sell top range vehicles. Get 10 standard range and 10 mid range in your garage, and you will only source top range vehicles after that. However, don't have more than 12 top range cars in your warehouse, as it will cause you to start sourcing random cars again. If you sort the cars by value or filter by range, you can count the cars by range type. Don't go over 32 cars. You now need to decide whether you want to do a regular export or if you want to sell a collection. If you choose to do a regular export, you need to choose which cars you want to sell. Since I'm only going to sell top range, I'm going to filter them to only show top range cars. It doesn't really matter which car you sell, although I tend to save the collection cars to sell in a collection. However, keep in mind that in order to sell a collection, it has to be selected from the collection menu, not from the export menu. Also, in order to sell multiple cars, you must have your associates in the warehouse with you, up to a maximum of 4 cars, being 1 CEO and 3 associates. Once you decide which cars to sell, you need to pick the type of person to sell to. Ignore the first 2 options and only sell to a specialist dealer. There is negligible difference in difficulty, and the specialist dealer is definitely worth it. After you select your buyer, you need to mod the cars. For a specialist dealer, the mods cost a flat $20,000. Don't worry, it's still worth it. You're going to get $100,000 back for a profit of 80 grand. The mods you select don't really matter, and you'll never see these cars again, so it's okay if you want to speed through the list. However, you have 5 minutes to choose, so it can be good to experiment with various paint jobs as a reference for your own personal car collection. After modding is done, it's time to deliver. If you are driving, the GPS will always tell you to go right out of the La Mesa garage. This is incorrect. Always go to the left and head for the highway. If you're in a lobby with no one else but you and your associates, head to this area here and park between these 2 trees. Immediately run north to this wall away from the cars and climb it, or use pedestrian cars as blockers to the goons and cars that will be attacking you. Get a weapon ready. I recommend a minigun if you have one. Try to avoid shooting at the goons if they are close to the cars. They are targeting you, not the cars, so don't accidentally shoot them yourself. It's useful to have your interaction menu open and hovering over snacks, but if you die, it's no big deal as long as the cars don't get damaged. After 3 or 4 waves of goons, you may get back in your car and drive carefully to the waypoint. But just like sourcing, traffic always seems to get worse during selling. Finally, look at your map and stay on the highway as long as possible. Set a waypoint if you need to, even if it's out of the way to do so. You still need to be careful, but it's a lot safer and more often than not quicker. Although you can avoid all that crap by using a cargo bob. When you're using a cargo bob, use this as a sweet spot for picking up cars. Keep the car on the sidewalk to avoid traffic, half on the rough and half on the smooth pavement, pointing between the corner of the wall and the pole. This position avoids trees and poles from obstructing your vision while you're trying to pick up the car. Once you're connected to the vehicle, just like sourcing, gain altitude, as this avoids both terrain hazards and goons. I like to use the skyscrapers in the distance as a reference. If you're at a similar height as them, you're well within the safe zone to fly. You don't need to go as high as Mace Bank though, but if you want to, then knock yourself out. There is no need to unhook the car before delivering it to the waypoint. Just be careful with it and set down on the destination Corona. It will unhook itself and even has an accompanying animation. Unfortunately, your associates don't get paid anything outside of their regular salary. Now for collections. It's exactly the same process as a regular export mission, except there's no miles to pay for. Associates get paid, but only for the collection bonus, and only associates actually delivering cars receive the collection bonus. The only two collections worth doing are the End of Empire collection with a bonus of $20,000 and the Uninsurable collector with a bonus of $35,000. These two keep you from losing the ability to source only top range cars, and the CEO actually loses profit by running any of the other collections. The sell missions themselves are exactly the same as a regular export mission, except for a few of the destinations. If there are other people in the lobby outside of organization members, there won't be any goons, but it's still not worth running cars in a lobby with randoms. The cooldown for the sell missions is 20 minutes for the first car sold, plus 10 minutes for each additional car. So now that you've got your cars sold, let's talk about how the payout is calculated. Please keep in mind that I've calculated this with 0 damage done during sourcing or selling and $20,000 spent for modding to a specialist dealer. So if you sell it by yourself, you're going to receive $80,000 for a top range car with a 20-minute cooldown. If you have one associate with you, you're going to get $160,000 with a 30-minute cooldown. If you have two associates to help you, you're going to get $240,000 with a 40-minute cooldown. And if you have 3 associates with you, you're going to get $320,000 with a 50-minute cooldown. So what this breaks down to on an hourly basis is, if you sell it by yourself, you're going to sell an $80,000 car 3 times for a profit of $240,000 an hour. If you have one associate with you, you're going to get $160,000 times 2 sales, which is $320,000 an hour. With 2 associates, you're going to do 1 sell, which equals $240,000 with 20 minutes left over, equaling $360,000 an hour. And with 3 associates, you're going to do 1 sell and make $320,000 with 10 minutes left over, equaling $384,000 an hour. However, if you look at it on a 2-hour timeline, the differences become more pronounced due to the leftover portions of the hours. If you're going solo, you're going to sell 6 times at $80,000 a piece, equaling $480,000. If you have one associate, you're going to do 4 sells at $160,000 each, equaling $640,000 an hour. If you have 2 associates, you're going to do 3 sells at $240,000 a piece, equaling $720,000 an hour. And if you're lucky enough to have 3 friends who are willing to work for peanuts for 2 hours, you're going to do 2 sells for $320,000 each, with a 20-minute leftover, equaling $768,000 an hour. Now onto the collections. The End of Empires collection, which is a 2-car collection, has a Z-Type with the license plate Big Money and a Roosevelt Valor with the license plate Old Timer. You get a $20,000 bonus for it, equaling $180,000. $20,000 profit over 2 normal top range cells. If you also calculate modding costs, plus your associate makes $20,000. However, the Uninsurable collector is a 3-car collection that comprises of an X80 Proto with the license plate Make Bank, a T20 with the license plate Devil, and an Osiris with the license plate Sleek for a $35,000 bonus, equaling $275,000. That's a $35,000 profit over 3 normal top range cells if you also calculate the modding costs. Plus, your associates make $35,000. So on to my final thoughts for the Import-Export warehouse. It is an excellent moneymaker that can be done both solo or with friends. Get the cargo bob as soon as possible as an unofficial upgrade. Everything can be done without it, but is much easier and quicker with one, while also minimizing repair costs. Most sourcing missions can be done with one, and absolutely all sell missions can be done with one. And if you own a hangar, you can have 2 cargo bobs out at once. Always set your GPS to the nearest highway and avoid going off-road if possible. Unfortunately, your associates won't make much helping you. However, you can always agree to help them run their cars or to any other businesses that they may have. Or you can run VIP work and challenges and give them the payout. Always use an unpopulated lobby to source and sell. There is no benefit to selling in a populated lobby, and even if one friend is sitting out of the cell, there won't even be goon squads to fight. Although I wouldn't miss out on selling a car for the sake of avoiding goons. And that's basically it. Everything in this guide is based on my experiences and opinions. I'm not saying that my methods are the best, but they are the best to my knowledge. If there is any things that I missed, got wrong, or if you know a better way, please let me know down in the comments, as I'm always looking to improve my game as well as be able to help others. And constructive comments and criticisms are always welcome. I'd like to give thank yous and shout outs to Civilian Million for showing me the oil field to fight the goons in during selling missions. I don't know if he found it, but he's the one who showed me. I'd also like to thank Yoda Lady 13 and Potter Girl 0707 for helping me source and sell vehicles for this video. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you found this guide useful and enjoyable. A like and subscribe would be much appreciated, and do give that little bell a ring to get notified of my future videos. So until next time, see ya!